Oh, dude, this is yo, I'm gonna say his name because God forbid, like, this guy's name is brought up a lot. This is worse than Saint, bro. Saint gets more viewership, but like this is more videos than Saint. Holy cow! Who suggested this to me? I'm not mad. Who suggested this to me again? Who the fuck suggested this to me?
Let me set the record straight before what comes next. I did attempt to contact Jshoea directly about this matter in an attempt to deal with this in a mature and constructive fashion, but for whatever reason, he's decided not to respond back to me. I got stonewalled on Twitter and told to type out what I wanted to ask in YouTube chat, only for him to ignore my messages, even when I proceeded to ask on Twitch, as well as trying to get him to respond with a $5 donation that he proceeded to ignore completely. Here's my credentials for my experience and time investment in Zenless Zone Zero, in case there's anyone who doesn't already know me or questioning if I was an actual fan or some doom-posting, rage-baiting hack. Jshoea, an incredibly connected content creator in the Zenless Zone Zero community, reacted to my video discussing open world exploration during a live stream on the 17th of November. Over the course of roughly half an hour, he would proceed to dismiss my critique with personal anecdotes that don't accurately represent the ZCC community, shame me for being ignorant of information that is not widely known in due fault by Hogyo versus poor global communication, slander my name by comparing me unfavorably to the most infamous content creator in the Zenless Zone Zero space, Saintontas, and generally just going on and on about how he wasted his time watching my video in a very disrespectful manner to me and my own personal work. I will of course be defending myself in this video, so let's go over what he had to say about me and my video. To start off with, my opinions of the exploration lacking meaningful rewards or engaging gameplay were dismissed because you can farm the respawning enemies for resources and that he does it all the time. This also extends to the refreshing materials that can be exchanged from Temple Management and Devon's Pawn Shop. Entire areas within the Lemnian Hollow, which consist of being long, empty corridors with a handful of finite rewards to pick up and a couple enemy spawns that—
Did he say finite rewards? Did he say finite rewards? Yes, they limit you because they give you so fucking much. If you were to come away with everything, yo, what the heck? The chests are? Okay, maybe the chests are. Okay, the finite resources are the chests. Okay. You know what? You're right. The chests are finite. But like literally the materials that you can get from running the Lemnian Hollow, as you guys see me do almost every single day, I can build characters off of them for free.
Okay, so one of the positives of Zenless Zone Zero for the longest time is that it's one of the faster gacha games to complete your dailies and spend your stamina in, allowing for daily account management that can fit comfortably in most players' day-to-day real lives. Jshoea wants to take that very advantage ZCC has and completely throw it out the window in favor of running around the same handful of maps and fighting the same trivial enemies with no challenge posed to the player for the lowest rarity of agent and W engine experience material from enemy drops. Every single day. And on top of that, fiddling around with the poorly designed user interface of the Temple Management System to gradually accumulate pawn shop currency to buy out the refreshing resource stock. It is at this point that I must remind everyone that Jshoea is a full-time content creator and live streamer. He is getting paid to play a casual gacha game for hours upon hours, one way or another. Of course he has the time to waste grinding low-rarity experience drops. It's live stream fodder content that he doesn't have to think twice about if it's actually fun to do or a boring slog to everyone else.
But like literally the materials that you can get from running the Lemnian Hollow, as you guys see me do almost every single day, I can build characters off of them for free. Every single day.
Let's bring some actual numbers into the mix. Leveling an agent from level 0 to 60 requires 300 senior investigation logs, which gives 3,000 agent experience each. The only tier of drop you can get from exploration is the trainee investigator log, which gives 100 agent experience. 30 trainee logs comes out to 1 senior log. So to have an equivalent of Agent EXP to 300 senior logs, you would need 9,000 trainee investigator logs. Using 20 battery or 2 hours worth of stamina at the HIA club for investigator logs nets you 3 to 4 senior investigator logs and 3 to 4 official investigator logs. Official logs offer 600 Agent EXP or the equivalent of 6 trainee investigator logs. Assuming the lowest drop of 3 on both logs, you should have the equivalent of 108 trainee investigator logs after fighting just 1 pack of trash mobs. If you roll high on both logs, it's the equivalent of 144 trainees logs. The footage you're seeing on screen is about 10 minutes worth of just running between mob packs and clearing them out, and I got about 112 trainee investigator logs, which comes out to a little over 3 senior investigator logs equivalent. That doesn't sound so bad when you think about it, as well as the possibility of either optimizing your runs using teleporters and agents that are less reliant on EX special attacks to do damage, as energy does not regenerate outside of combat. However, no matter how you look at it, you are now asking a casual player to more than double their playtime for daily account management in order to reap the benefits of a fraction of what they get out of spending their stamina and just logging off. This is not compelling content. This is not challenging content either. We're not talking about the high replay value of Hollow Zero, or the test of endurance and enemy knowledge of the Battle Tower. We're talking about grinding out trivial button mashing content that would give version 1 ZZZ and the countless past complaints of it being a brainless, easy game a run for its money. Yet Jshoea will shun you for not wanting to throw your limited free time into a wood chipper the same way the glorified IRL category streamer can do and get paid for it. And this is all without having mentioned the tempo management content that you're also expected to do, regardless of whether or not you wanted to even play a bare bones business tycoon simulator instead of challenging hack and slash combat in the hack and slash gacha game. I work a full-time job. 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. There's only so much gacha busy work I will put up with before I want to tap out. I love playing Zenless Zone Zero, but I also recognize that it's a gacha game and that there are countless situations in these games where the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. This being one of those times. If I'm gonna play ZZZ for an extended play session as a day 1 hardcore player, I'm either gonna push for a higher Battle Tower record or run Hollow Zero with most of the modifiers activated, and I do so because it's fun content that challenges my game experience and knowledge. But unfortunately, I don't even earn any rewards for my progress in Battle Tower content past a certain point, and Hollow Zero's Z merits are limited to Denny purchases after exhausting the monthly shop reset. Joshua's failure to recognize the importance of the casual player's value of their own time and smearing of my critique is a blatant lack of empathy to a large majority of gacha players who don't have anywhere near the same level of privilege as a full-time gacha content creator. Out of touch, disconnected from reality, mint picker behavior. And that should have honestly been the end of it. A full-time creator with personal freedoms that many would sacrifice their very lives for once again imposes their tone-deaf perspective of how people should spend their limited free time and leave it at that. And yet, it gets worse, as Jshoea would then proceed to look down on me for not knowing about the extended 2.5 developer talk on Bilibili when discussing the future of exploration content in my video.
Completely agreed. They should have scrapped the exploration stuff and made some procedurally generated tiles for Hollow instead. Wow. I see someone read the dev notes. Like, bro, why did I give this a view when literally the devs already mentioned the fix and they've already addressed this whole issue with the dev talk, with the Bilibili dev talk? Why did I watch this? Josh, you wasted your time. Okay. We gotta tell this person to watch the dev note. I don't think anybody's mentioned the dev note here. So maybe just people don't know about the dev notes and don't know about the dev talk. To be fair, the dev talk was only on Bilibili. The devs are looking into making new unstable hollows with procedurally generated maps, which is super cool. And I'm very excited to see how they expand upon this even next level of exploration.
Here's the thing though, I did know about the Bilibili dev talk. I even knew about the translated version available in a public Google document. So then, why didn't I address it? Simple, because if the information was so important for people to see, then I simply figured that it should have all been in the global dev talk notes in the Hoyo Lab blog post. If there was important information in the Bilibili Dev Talk that did not make it to the global blog post, then that is no one's fault besides Hoyoverse. Players are not responsible for a company's failure to communicate to them, and to suggest otherwise is an unreasonable expectation. I don't have the free time to camp a leaks subreddit or foreign social media page for every little nugget of information. But I guess since this is Jshoea we're talking about, I guess I should really just give up every single choice I have in my own personal life at this rate.
Every single day?
But you know what? Fine. Okay. I did say that I'd like to be proven wrong about the situation and that the ZCC team knows how to fix exploration. And this procedurally generated content Jshoea keeps going on about sounds promising. So I went ahead and took a look at the translated Google document for what he keeps going on about. Slight problem though. There is not a single mention of any procedurally generated content in this extended dev talk. Jshoea is talking down to me over a function that he made up and was never uttered by Y in the 2.5 dev talk.
Where am I missing that at? Hold on, did I miss this? Let me go, where am I missing this at? They're supposed to be adding procedurally changing hollows. We're talking about the story here because I don't remember this. I do not remember this in the dev talk. So I'm going to take the time, I'm going to look at this real quick because maybe I'm incorrect here. This is all about them talking about the QTE. The scene is going to take a little bit of time, right? With the combining the combat and the storytelling to change the narrative of the story, right? Addressing issues of the character introductions. This is the one thing that I'm looking for. Where does Y and them saying that there's going to be procedural changing such? We're very interested quite a bit on with Section 6 story. That's right, upcoming, blah, blah, thing. Exalt Order, due process of the proxies, greater crisis, looking forward to the two main proxies. Objectively speaking, the key storyline, they share some things with your thoughts. What we talked about saying character introductions is when they talked about the character introduction, the older NPCs or all the old friends is when they talked about the events, how they wanted to make it to where old friends and everything else was together. All the scaled hidden features of Illuminated Square, many of these characters also the ones that our players really like, but once White Fate Peninsula, the difficult opportunity to find them, like Venus, we're in the very beginning of this, content's quite good, time and things, sheep's clothing. I'm looking in case I did miss this. As disciples would unfold with stories in UKIT Summon and everything else, UKIT's factions, is just about if this was said in regarding to proxies, to acknowledge the element back of the main story and events. For example, 2.3 simulation chef role, we have Fairy, they want to make AI more present. As for Internoc with upgrades and postings, they want to do something with Internoc. Right with the message post in existence and overturn the version. I personally agree with the point while consistently expanding new modes like stage modes and the thing, producing new content, we're actively working on exploration of sorts. We're original areas, yes, we're planning factions or even NPCs opening shops. Earlier, we're also making a planned effort. Okay, so we're getting back here with personally the different views from working on the exploration, of course. You've mentioned opening shops. This is when they talked about the shops. We will go through it like we promised before the season 2 with the Hotspot restaurant. It's a must eat. Actually, besides Hotspot, we're definitely going to be doing something with other main shops. Lumia Square thing. You mentioned 404 error. So a bit like the overpressure washing the idols. When you're fine, you're revealed. Okay. I think everyone look forward to them, right? Besides the shops at 2.5, you can change the combat and change the changes areas, including themselves special level exploration abilities. The new exploration abilities have certain connection with our junior senior and be related to movement. It also may involve interaction within the levels. Of course, this won't affect normal player exploration. This is when we get back to exploration, right? So there won't be any barrier between things. Speaking of which, areas before felt very linear, right? It felt like a bit of missing, like there wasn't really need for a proxy there. And then we're coming here to where they're talking about, the proxy's greater role, helping the players explore the region. During the process, we also design upgrades or extensions to the player experience. For example, players may encounter helpful Bang Boo characters, may help assist finding the hidden rewards. There will be also side quests, additional IP collectibles. We're aiming to provide an immersive experience with higher content density. We don't necessarily intend to make the map endlessly large, rather we want to raise the quality of the content and experience within it. Okay. Speaking of immersive experiences, we noticed that playing the areas before, you hadn't finished the main storyline. And then this is when they talk where you could just do the map without having to do the story, or you could do the story while doing the map. You can do that, everything basically however you want. But there's nothing in here that is saying, then we go back to events like fishing and everything else, unless there's something I'm missing down here. There's nothing saying like they're going to make the hollows, change. They're just expanding on the density of the content. This is when they talk about the updating of hollows. Okay, maybe right here. Let's see. So let's see. This might be where he's talking about. In recent versions, we actually looking ahead with complaints to the provisional tactical thing in preparation for updates to Hollow Zero gameplay. We've also been making some preparation on our side. Back early years with Aerial City, we tried some experiments. For example, combining combat stages, Aerial City plus Subian Temple can be considered a very early attempt. In theory, we could have relatively consistent loop gameplay system, especially with our stages overall much greater expandability. Unlike the early days, it is one of the small stages after another. Now as people support the exploration, side quests, or even storytelling, so the stage-based system can actually create a more intense loop experience. Actually, I played it myself with Hollow Zero. I think due to a broader stage design or level structure we have now, actually if you include a certain degree of mission design within the stages, it's quite suitable for expressing some of the previous established elements like proxies, mutants, and overall ecosystem of Hollows, especially Hollow Zero. We want to upgrade both stage gameplay and overall system experience. Previous things for version when Hollow Zero was first introduced focused mainly on Age's ability, roguelike linear framework, connected things together. But now we've come this far, we believe we could definitely broaden the space first, right? Chance to create something new. I think as a game designer, it's necessary to look at what players' feedback and over the long term. Yes, of course, a broader direction is definitely quite some time. Looking at long term, yes, objectively speaking, if you want to see problems appear in adjustment base, already too late. Instead, you need to look ahead, anticipate issues that might arise in the future. In addition, being able to willing to listen to player feedback, striving for better gameplay experience. For example, you want to further develop all kinds of things at best. Photo event was mentioned earlier to showcase the thing. Okay, where is this changing of the hollows? This is the co-op. Okay, I'm going through it all really quickly. This is the multiplayer, the chain attack. Like, all I'm seeing is that they're talking about expanding the content of it, but it's not saying that it's going to be like a changing hollow. It's like, what I get from that, maybe he got something different, but from what I'm getting so far is that they're just going to be adding more to it. The question is it going to be something, like I said before, where it'd be like side quests that are rotating, or in general, is there going to be more incentivizations that's wrapped around it, is the question I would have. Now we're talking about the buffing of the characters, permanent character upgrades, abilities, when it comes to enemy designs. Okay, I think it's good that we design enemy interactions. Of course, we don't think. Boss fight, difficulty. I'm not seeing what Josh is talking about. This is the auto function, the sweep for the discs. Because I might have missed it. I don't see anything about that. I don't see anything that Josh is talking about right there. All I see is they're talking about adding a density of content to exploration. They're working on Hollow Zero. They're working on several different facets of ZZZ. But when it comes into exploration, there'll be like bang boos, there'll be hidden treasures, stuff like this. And they just want to put more density into it, which does not mean they're going to be adding that particularly.
We got to tell this person to watch the dev note.
I'm not seeing what Josh is talking about.
So maybe just people don't know about the dev notes?
I don't see anything about that.
The devs are looking into making new unstable hollows with procedurally generated maps, which is super cool.
I don't see anything that Josh is talking about right there.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up. Imagine a world, Raiden, free of cancel culture, where no one can call me out for my outlandish claims. A world where I can say...
We gotta tell this person to watch the dev note.
In case anyone's keeping track right now, we're now on strike 2 for Joshua's inability to act as a qualified voice for the Zenless Zone Zero community. He can't empathize with the fatigue and frustrations of players in regards to busy work content in place of meaningful experiences from their favorite game, and instead remarks how just cause he's okay with it, and again, it's cause he gets paid to do whatever he wants, that means you should be able to with no complaints of quality or compensation. And now, he's running defense for Hoyoverse's poor global communication skills and peddling fabricated information of what was actually discussed in the 2.5 Bilibili dev talk, yet speaks with such confidence and conviction about how anyone who doesn't know what he knows is just not well informed enough. None of what I can see would suggest any implementation of procedurally generated content at all. It's all just stuff that was condensed into more digestible reading material for the HoYoLab global blog post. Absolutely none of the quotes that come even close to talking about exploration or area design has anything to do with confirming or even hinting at procedural generation for newer game versions. At this point, I'm beginning to wonder if you're the one who's wasting my time, Jshoea, making me go on a wild goose chase for a feature you made up in your head. And if any of whatever you're talking about comes from leaked content from Chinese servers, which I doubt it, but I'll continue on this line of thought anyway, you should know right now that I do not cover ZZZ leaks on this channel. Leaked content is incredibly saturated in the ZZZ space right now, with everyone salivating at what's to come in 2.5. I stopped fixating on leaks years ago after I left Genshin Impact. I have plenty to do in the now that I don't care about discussing leaks the same way everyone else seems to be whom I share the space with. I have no problem with them doing it, but I'm simply not interested. Especially given the incomplete nature of leak content and it's subject to change. Just go ask r/BonU mains if digging their noses where they weren't supposed to has gotten them anywhere but despair and copium. So, either this talk of procedural holo content either doesn't exist and you made it up, or it's leaked content and I'm not going to blame anyone for not wanting to cover that stuff, and you shouldn't either. And yet here we are, with you talking down to me over something that was never real. And yet, somehow, by some unholy trinity that has befallen me, it gets even worse.
Oh, dude, this is yo, I'm gonna say his name because God forbid, this guy's name is brought up a lot. This is worse than Saint, bro. Saint gets more viewership, but like this is more videos than Saint. Holy cow. Who suggested this to me? I'm not mad. Who suggested this to me again? Who the fuck suggested this to me?
And if any of you thought this may have just been a very twisted joke, I hate to tell you, this wasn't a joke, because he doubled down on it.
And I'll be so honest, like it was a waste of my last 20 minutes. Not that it was your fault at all. You're just coming in at a weird time where we're reacting to a video that's quite inflammatory. I don't know. Yo, maybe the enemy of my enemy is my friend, Saint. Yo, bro, we're gonna get along real well, brother. Saint, buddy, hey, let's hang out. Let's go get some drinks, baby.
And that right there is strike 3. Words cannot describe how I first felt after watching this reaction. Betrayed, backstabbed, wronged by, defeated, dejected, demotivated, demoralized, all of it, and many more. A larger name in the ZZZ space with a wealth of free time is lecturing me, a man with responsibilities and obligations in order to keep a roof over his own head, on needing to educate myself, then proceeds to project a false narrative of me with his own uneducated opinions based on a 3-minute video and a dozen thumbnails. Yes, I do critique Zenless Zone Zero, because critique content is what I'm most fond of. I don't have the time or personal drive to make guide content. I don't want to cover leaks, nor do I need to. I hate the idea of becoming a React channel. And you don't want me to review anyone's own account under any circumstances. Zenless Zone Zero is a game with many problems, and needs some much needed tough love by its fans when it's necessary. But to suggest that I only provide negative coverage is such an insult to the content I've made over the 6 months I've been here. I've praised the buffing of my favorite character, Ellen Jo, gone to bat for ZZZ at the height of the Wuthering Waves brigading by attempting to defuse both sides, defended the TV mode and its value to ZZZ's development cadence, pushed back against the abusive Twitch tracker as a means to put down ZZZ and its community, defended the wider community against generalized statements made against them in retaliation to the situation with Jshoea's English voice actor on Twitter, voiced my praise for version 2.1, defended the design of Jshoea as a playable character being more than just a one-button support agent, dedicated an entire video to praising the game, glazed the design of Yanagi's gameplay, made up with several ZZZ creators whom I had past conflict with, defended the Vivian skin pulling event, gave my own solutions to the design problems of the Deadly Assault endgame mode, and approached the Blue Panda controversy with as open a mind as possible despite all the negative things I've heard about him, both public and private knowledge. I'm gonna let you guys all in on something. I've had the ability to monetize my channel's content ever since my second ever video I made, and even recently was reached out to for a sponsorship by what I assume to be a third-party top-up site. But in both cases, I have not activated monetized content and turned down the sponsorship. Any ads you see on my videos are a result of my occasional use of copyright music, nothing more. So why did I turn down these opportunities? Because I'm here for the passion of creating video content, to deliver my own thoughts and opinions out on the internet for people with shared interests to witness and engage with. I love Zenless Zone Zero, Jshoea, far more than you do. I come home from a long day and choose to play this game, and pour hours upon hours into covering and talking about it. And the beauty of it all is that I can say and cover whatever I like without having to walk on eggshells around YouTube demonetization policies, third-party sponsorship contract obligations, and the sanitized nature of Hoyoverse creator programs. I walked away from a potentially fruitful endeavor of siding with Saintontas and anti-Hoyoverse parties because I never felt like I belonged in that clique of people. So when Foxsoul reached out to me and I had a 6-hour conversation with a man that I thought would do wrong by me, I was instead extended a hand and finally found a home in content creation that I felt I wanted to truly settle down in. When I came back from my hiatus, I went to work, cleaned up my bullshit, adjusted my video format to facilitate a healthier work-life balance, and made connections with several ZZZ creators whom I never saw myself as being alongside. So how do you think I felt when I was attacked in my very home? Not by invaders, but by a well-respected leader who can easily cut me off from so many opportunities if he felt like it. If there was truly a time for me to crash out like I used to, it's right now. But I've gotten a better handle of my emotions, and frankly, I don't want to deal with this spoiled brat any longer. So I'll just leave on this. Jshoea, I expected better from a creator of your status and renown in the Zenless Zone Zero community, and your mistreatment of me was inexcusable. I have never felt more disrespected by another CC the entire time I've been here than I have by you. You might say that I'm worse than Saintontas, but the truth of the matter is that Saintontas is simply better than you.